Hey guys, so this week we're going to do a video not on our current van life situation, but actually on our first van life, and that was the one that we had in Australia, where we lived for about 4 months living in a van there.
Yep.
So we're just going to cobble together some of our old footage and pictures, and then kind of talk to you guys and give you a little quasi-tour of that van.
This was the car that we bought. It's a 1997 Mazda E2000. We bought it from another German couple that were going back home, and I think they posted on Gumtree, which is, you know, like a Craigslist here, for 6,000, something like that, Australian dollars, and we were able to talk them down to 3,900 Australian dollars.
It was low season at the time, so I think they were really trying to get rid of the van.
Yeah.
We were also the third owners, so there was quite high mileage, but it was pretty good van.
Yeah. It took us a while to get used to driving on the right side. I really like the truck steering wheel style. It was pretty cool. The engine is underneath the seats, which you could only find in like Westies, I think. The only downside is it would get pretty hot if we, you know, drive for a few hours. It would warm up the car pretty well. But the engine is pretty good. I think this car got driven up and down the east coast of Australia like 3 times before us. So, and we never really have any trouble with it, except for the radiator for $7 Australian dollars, which I thought was super expensive.
700.
What did I say?
7.
Huh?
$7.
Not $7, $700. And what else? I think that's it.
Yeah, we did some minor things like spark plugs and whatnot, but the only major thing we had to do was the radiator.
Yeah, and it always takes like 5 minutes to turn on the car every morning.
It's always very scary. So this is the inside of the car. You can see that primarily it's made up of the bed, and then we have a little bit of space in the back for the kitchen. We can also flip the mattress up just like we do here and access all that space underneath the van. And we could fit so much stuff down there, so it was pretty spacious. From this view, you can kind of see how we had it all nicely set up, and all the pillows that we had in the back. We had tons of pillows, and it was super comfy. And
There's 7 pillows.
And we also had lots of like storage solutions, so you can kind of see on the left side of the van here. We went to IKEA and got these little like wall storage things, and we just put all the small stuff, our socks, our toiletries, and that sort of thing. We also got these 2 bins from IKEA, which were supposed to be for garbage bags, but we used it for our closets. So we each had one, just folded all our clothes into it and kept things at a minimum. And then on the right side, we had this cupboard that was super useful and was actually what inspired our whole like cupboard system here in our element. It was just really nice to have that like accessibility and like just a place to put like our laptops and things like that. So.
Yeah. And this was our first night sleeping in the car. I got really hungry in the middle of the night, so I made some cereal. As you can see, it's pretty roomy in there. And another good thing is the mosquito net. I think we only used it once.
Normally it's really not very useful just because you're stealth camping and you don't want to be just leaving your door open.
Yeah. And this is our normal setup. We put up an awning this time. We only did it like twice because it takes a lot of work to put up that awning.
Yeah, it was a hassle. I mean, it was nice that the van was really set up for it. It had like a groove on the side of the van where you could just like slip it in and then put the poles up, but then you have to tie them down and everything, and we were not very good at it. It always looked like it was going to fall down.
Yeah, as you can see.
So we only did it like twice.
We have a bike rack in the back of the van. It was really convenient just because we don't have to drive right into downtown in the city to find parking. We can park like a mile or 2 away, and we can just bike in.
In This picture, Phil's holding a bike license plate because on our first day driving around in Sydney downtown, we got pulled over by a cop and fined $400 for obstructing our license plate with the bike rack. And we hadn't realized that, or we didn't think it was a big deal. And he was like, nope, it is, and you have to go and buy a bike license plate, which cost us another $45 on top of the $400 ticket.
It was the first night with the van. And right off the bat, $445 gone. That hurt.
Okay, so this is kind of going into the whole kitchen setup. Here you can see the sink, and it was like one of the biggest features we thought was really cool with the car. And it had a hand pump, and it had a pipe that led right out of the van and everything. And in the end, we really didn't even use it. We used it like twice, and we found out that it was super annoying because the sink was too small to actually wash any dishes in. And it left all this sudsy water all over the ground underneath the car, and we would be like, let's drive away before people know it's us. So we ended up just using it to put like food in it because it was really not really worth using as a sink. And then here to the right, here's a mini fridge that was installed into the car but actually is not run at all. So there is an option to plug it in through this socket that they had on the outside of the car, but we were never in any place to plug it in. Like, we never pay for RV sites or anything, so we just use it as just like a giant cooler.
Yep. And
just it was good to keep food kind of at like a normal temperature even if the van got really warm inside.
And then in the middle, it's where we put, you know, the pots and pans and dry food and stuff. So it was pretty convenient. Tons of storage.
Lots of counter space too.
And this is basically our kitchen setup. We bought this, you know, bracket. This is the only thing we added in the kitchen area, was this bracket that we got from, again, IKEA. And it fits all our Asian sauce, you know, perfectly. And this is pretty much the same setup as we have now, cooking. 2 burner stove and a 1 gallon propane tank. First night.
Yeah, just a clip of our first night cooking in the van. And it just so happened that it was raining horribly that night and would continue for the next like month. But we didn't know what to do, we didn't know where to go, and so we ended up parking at this residential little covered parking lot and cooking in the back here.
It was a handicap spot too.
Yeah, we were like super nervous too because we didn't know where we could go or where we should be cooking, and it was raining and everything, and so it was definitely an adventure that night, but we got a nice meal out of it and it all worked out, and we kind of, you know, got used to it after a little while.
Yeah. And this is our second battery setup. So you see the on and off switch. So whenever we have the car on, we'll just flip the switch to on and charge the second battery. In the back of the kitchen is where we have the 300-watt inverter and a extension power cord to plug all our electronics in to charge up, you know, laptops, cameras, tablets, the usual stuff. And it worked out pretty well. We didn't have a solar setup. We didn't need one because every day we would drive at least an hour or two.
So yeah, this was our home for 4 months, and it did us very well. Got us all the way from Sydney to Cairns, and in the end we sold it in Cairns for $4,600. So we kind of made a profit, although we actually had to pay for that new radiator, so we kind of broke even. But for living in Australia for 4 months, that was pretty sweet.
Yep, and that's it. And if you guys have any questions, you know what to do. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, see you later. Bye. Beautiful man. I'm gonna miss it. The baskets and all our crap in the back. And Phil driving all the time. This is Cairns. We're just gonna stay the night here, and tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock we hand over the keys. It's pretty sad.